Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my first live stream of any game. I've chosen to start off with streaming Blackguards. Now, Blackguards was released by Daedalic Entertainment recently in January. It is a strategic RPG with squad elements a la XCOM and Original Hero for anyone known, but of course set in the fantasy world of the Black Eye. And for those of you who don't know, the Black Eye is a pen and paper RPG from Germany, very popular there. It's even more popular than Dungeons and Dragons. And Daedalic has gone and made a fantastic game based in this awesome environment. Now, there are quite a few videos out there already. The videos are playing through the game, they're showing you how to play the game, but a lot of them are actually based on the original beta and even the almost final beta. Very few are based on this game in its final released version. Now, I picked this up on the Steam sale this past week and I've been having a grand old time having a go at it. It's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of fantastic elements. The graphic style is quite nice, it's quite clean, and the voice acting is a laugh. Sometimes the characters are pretty damn good. Now, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to take you through starting a new game, creating a new character, and then going through the first few missions. So let's get started. But before we do, let's look at our options and see what's up. Very much the standard options. Nothing too fancy here. You can choose your language, English, German, set your difficulty. As you can see, I just leave it on normal. I play to have fun. I don't always need a challenge. If I want a challenge, it's called real life. Hex detail, well, it's nice, simple. The music's quite good, so we leave that on there, and then everything else can go on high. So just sit back. Yeah, I don't need to save. Let's go start a new. Crap, wrong button. I press continue. Okay, now you're going to see where I'm further on. Let's just go back to the main menu quickly. Sorry about that. Bear in mind, I'm not going to be doing any editing in this. What you see and everything goes through is unedited footage straight away. So let's go into new game. Now, straight away you get asked, do you want basic or expert? Now, if you're unfamiliar with role-playing games, take basic. If you know your way around role-playing games, I advise you to start with basic, do a round or two to get familiar with the characters and the environment and what works for you, and then go to expert. I'll explain why in a second. Let's go to basic first. Basic sets you up with predefined characters. You can take warrior, mage or hunter, very much the stock in trade for any RPG game. You can choose male or female on your gender, and there are a few pre-selected or predefined portraits. You cannot edit your character's look, so that is how your character looks, blank. And now, while you might think, oh, that's a bit sucky, that's a bit crappy, but it does make sense later in the game because each one is rendered very nicely in the game as well as in the numerous cutscenes. Now, each of these characters, warrior, mage and hunter, are good. There is nothing wrong with them. They are very good, solid characters. Warrior is a straight tanking, melee damage character, good with using a shield, good with using axes and weapons. As you can see, it's got a bit of a brief overview here. Trained with weapons, one hand and two hand, body control, can treat wounds. Of course, it's also got downside. It's got no experience in the wild, it wants to be in the city, and it's got no training in ranged weapons. It's got a few abilities, and here you see its stats. Mage, you're a magic user, simple as that. You have to select a mage if you want to use magic. Now, you'll also be doing this in experts, but I'll get to that in a moment. Strengths, combat mage, you've got strong will, person who wants to keep going through things. Trained with combat with staffs and bow weapons. Of course, it's got very bad in close combat and very bad in range, but it's got lots of spells, and again, your attributes and your abilities. Finally, the hunter. This is now your classic ranged character. Bow weapons, crossbows, being able to set traps, being able to know what's going on in the wild, etc. Very much a fast, quick fighter. I'm going back to the warrior now quickly. Now, I like these characters. I started off playing the hunter just to get a feel of the game, and I'm happy with it. It's a great character. But I want to be able to change a bit more. And now we are going to take a solid look at creating a character this evening. So we'll say bye to that. Yes, confirm, we don't want to save anything. And we'll restart, but in expert mode. Now in expert mode, this is fantastic. Here you can change all your stats. Your stats, as you can see, are effectively nullified. You don't have any. First decision. Do you want to be a mage or not? That's a very important consideration because there's a downside. If you select a mage, you are restricted in using metallic based armor, which is of course the heaviest, most durable armor in the game. So if you want to be a tanking fighter, close range combat, taking a mage is going to cost you, because you will not, if you can choose metallic armor in the game, but you're going to be limited in casting spells, it is going to cause issues for you. You're going to get a penalty in trying to cast spells. However, if you're say taking a ranged fighter, if you want to create a hunter slash mage or a rogue-like character with ranged combat, then a mage is a good combo. Now, something to bear in mind is these systems are not predefined. So if you want to take your melee character and have it be a ranged melee character, you can. If you want to take the straight hunter and in the course of the game learn to be a melee fighter, you can. You can take your mage and turn your mage into a melee fighter in the game. Just bear in mind that at the start of the game, this is where you decide, do you want to use magic? Yes or no? Now I'm going to take yes, because I like using magic. So first of all, let's give our character name. I'll take a female and I'll make her look like a... There we go. I'll call her Brunhilde. She reminds me of a Norwegian. So we say that's Brunhilde. Alright. Now straight away, you are told what your limitations are. You can't go above 14 in skills, sorry, in attributes. Skills and spells can't go above level 8. Now, it's a skill of 8 levels inside that before you rank up. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. You've got a total amount of action points here which you need to spend, 9,500 points. Any points unspent will be lost when you start the game. Same on equipment. You can, when you equip your character, you can go wild, do anything you want. Bear in mind, anything not chosen when you start the game is lost. So do everything you want to do, but do it now. Alright, let's go to the character. Let's see, now I need to decide what do we have here. Now as you can see here on the top, you've got 5 tabs. Your base values, which control your basic stats. Now these are 8 basic stats which determine a lot of what you can open up later on. And in the bottom here, you've got 3 vital stats. Your vitality, which is your health, astral energy, which is your classic mana, your ability to cast spells, and of course your resistance to magic. Now this is a great buff because as you progress in the game, you are going to meet magic users and they hurt a lot. Now as you raise or lower one of these points, as you can see, you can't go below 8 points and you cannot go above 14. Your stats here change. So courage affects, let's see, courage affects your, if we see under your base values, your highest over courage, it's got attack, initiative, resistance and astral energy. Now let's just go through those quickly. Vitality, as I've said, that's your health. Attack is your probability of hitting your enemy. As you can see here on the right, you've got the explanation. Parry, basically defending it. Dodging, not getting hit. Ranged, your ability to hit with a ranged weapon. Initiative is very important. Initiative determines where you start in combat. And in this game, there is a lot of combat. So initiative is very important. You want a high initiative. Resistance, as I've said, that is your ability to defend yourself against magic. Astral energy, as I've said, that is your ability to cast spells. The more astral energy, the more spells you can cast. During combat, you generate 1 astral energy point per turn. and there are buffs to that, so you can increase it from 1 to 2, etc. So if you find you start with 31, but you can buff it up. Vitality on the other hand, you can only increase vitality in combat with spells or with drinking potions. Speed is the last stat, which is important, and this determines how far you can move in combat. Now the further you can move, the better your options are to evade combat and to get into combat, because sometimes you want to get in quick, make a strike and get out. So again, an important stat. Let's just reduce that to 8 points quickly. Right, weapon talents. As you can see, these are your different weapon classes, and there's a lot of weapon classes. What's really cool is you've got the ability to tailor your attack strength and your defense strength of every single melee weapon. Ranged weapons, of course, you can't do that. So let's say, for instance, okay, I'm gonna make her a hunter, I think. So I'll be using spears. As you can see, I've got 4 points. I can now choose if she's going to be aggressive or defensive. And now the higher the value here, it's a bonus, it's a buff. So when you're in combat and you've got that weapon equipped, she'll have +4 to defense, but of course she won't have any bonus to offensive when she makes a strike. And you can change this at any time before combat. Very handy. So I'll leave it about there. She can be a bit defensive there. Now bows, crossbows and thrown weapons, we're going to get to them again. But those are very important, and I'll explain why later. Actually, I'll explain now quickly. In a game, your main range weapons will be bows and crossbows. Now bows have got quite a few talents that you can unlock with them to make them more powerful. But they're a slightly weaker weapon than crossbows. Crossbows have fewer talents that you can use to buff them, but they do a higher damage. They're great for a magic user, what I've found so far, because they do a high damage when the astral energies run out, and you don't have to put in too much extra points to buff up your bows. However, you can buff up your bow skill to fire multiple arrows at the same time. But again, you fire multiple arrows, so you're using up more ammunition. And in this game, ammo is a fixed sum, it is limited. Finally, your other thrown weapons are going to be, like it says there, knives, javelins, orbs, etc. Anything that you can throw. These are one-shot items. You find them all over, but they are one-shot items. So again, it's like, no thank you. Now let's move on. Talents. Now these are the talents that will be used during combat. They are quite important. Body control determines how much you get knocked down and how good your character is at resisting getting affected by spells and the environment. Willpower, character actually can work through damage, can work through wounds. Very, very handy. Perception, spot traps and hidden objects. Quite handy as well, especially in the mid and late game when you hit traps galore. That's actually painful. Traps. Now the opposite of perception, you can set a trap. The higher your trap level, the better you are at setting a trap and disarming a trap. Streetwise, this is your skills in an urban environment and reduces the prices when you are in an inn to rest. Quite a handy skill. So far, half the combat I've gone through has been in urban environment and the half has been in the wilderness, which is under survival. Again, you increase your speed in combat in the wilderness, and the cost of provisions gets decreased. And provisions are actually quite expensive, so this is a handy skill. Now, I'll explain provisions once we're in the game. Animal lore, you can basically spot details about an animal. Chance to hit, vitality, astral points, etc. Later on you get buffs against animal. The higher your animals, the higher your skill is. Warcraft is the humanoid form of animal lore, buffs and knowledge of humanoid enemies. Now again, you're fighting 50-50. You are either going to want to start off strong in one and unlocking the other one, or half and half. Or not at all. You're going to need to make that call. What you will find is that you will pick up other NPCs that will join you in combat later on, and they will have one or the other, but they won't have both. So you need to find what works for you. Treat wounds is a very, very handy skill, and you want this good. Now in this game, you're going to get wounded. You get damage in combat, and you get something called wounds. Now damage is normal, you lose health points, simple as that. Wounds, however, are a permanent debuff on your character. It makes him more susceptible to getting damaged later on, and it basically is a negative impact, a negative modifier. So you want to treat that wound as quickly as possible to heal up. Now you can't rest out a wound. You can rest to regenerate health, but you can't treat a wound by rest. You either have to go to a healer, or you've got to use the skill to treat it. It's a very good skill to have. Now let's go to spells. As you can see, there are quite a few spells I can choose, these in blue, and quite a few that you can't. Now these that you can't, you will be able to unlock them later in the game, so don't worry too much about that. Any skill which you do not choose now, you can unlock in the game by going to trainers. If you've got the necessary cost to unlock them, so you can see 40 for a couple, yeah, there's 200, there's 40 to learn, but sometimes they go up to about 200, then you can unlock them if you find the trainer, and they are scattered all over the map. Now your spells fall into element spells, so cold, fire, pure magic, to buffs, better accuracy, better skills in combat, to debuffs, so you make a negative modifier on your enemies, as you can see by these here, or create, say, multiple visions of you, increase in your armor, of course, then your healing spells. Now all of these are good. I've so far been concentrating on this burst of flame, which is like a mini fireball on a single target, and thunderbolts as a side effect. Both very nice spells, but this one's been quite good. As you increase any spell, I'll just show you quickly by going over here. By the time you unlock it at its maximum level, which is 18 level 18 points inside that, then it becomes an area of effect weapon, which is great, but it takes a while to get there. So yeah, give me an example. So I'll learn that one and I'll raise that to 8. As you can see, as it goes up, it actually gets pretty expensive. To go from level 8 to 9 will then cost that 85, but then from 9 to 10 might be double that, and it just increases and increases and increases. So choose wisely and choose carefully. Finally, your special abilities. These are important. Now, depending on what you've raised your base level to, the special ability will then unlock. So if I want to take knockdown, power blow under melee, which gives an extra amount of damage when I fight, I need a strength of 12 to unlock it. So I've got to make sure my base value is at 12 before I can unlock this. And the same for any of this. As you can see, those in red I can unlock, but I don't meet the requirements. Now for a ranged character, target shot, very handy. It causes extra damage when I fire it. With this, if you got this applied on your character, you will be firing ranged target shot continuously. Now here's a big difference between bows and crossbows. Crossbows will only use these two. Bows will use all four. They can fire triple shot, which is three arrows at a single target, or arrow storm, which is a rain of arrows at multiple targets. But as you can see, they cost quite a bit to unlock, and they use up a lot of ammo. So your call if you want to go that route, if you want a good archer, or if you want to have a simple crossbowman as a support character. For a magic user, I would suggest astral energy, so you will need this to get your regeneration. Your range spell is quite handy, but of course you've got to raise a few things, and your astral mastery is quite a handy thing as well, because it decreases the cost of what you can do. Now let's see, what shall I do this character? I'm going to make her, I think I'm going to do something exactly what I said you should do. I'm going to make her a melee mage fighter. So I want her to go quite quick. So I want a high agility, very high agility, and I want her to be quite dexterous. Actually, I'm going to drop it down to 13 because it's quite expensive. She needs a bit more constitution, and raise her strength slightly. Charisma needs to go up, and intuition needs to go up because she is a mage. And then I'll put that up there, and I'll leave these three alone for now. Let's go to my special abilities and see what I can unlock. Right, astral regen. Yeah, that's already biting into my points. Now dodge is very nice. Dual wielding, I don't use it that much, so I'll ignore that. Feint's fun. Armor use is good. I think I will take dodge. Learn, confirm. Oh, not much left. Now let's see weapons. She's going to be on spears. Fencing. No, I haven't actually much use for fencing. They're going to be for target damage. Let's see talents. I need to learn talents. Now, even if you're not going to put too many points in here, then it might be worthwhile just to actually unlock that. I want to learn that one. Willpower. That's going to make her that she's a forest woman, and she knows a bit of Warcraft and treat wounds. Just put a couple of points into here, not much. You can see it. Now what the heck? Just unlock them all. You can gradually put points into these, but it bites, so be careful there. And then lastly, I want to do healing, and then okay, that's a good spell. I'll keep that spell and be able to cure wounds. Okay, the reason I took this to cure poison is that there are some characters in the game that can do nasty poison spells, so I'll take that. Healing, always handy. I'll leave that at level 8, it's a great spell. And then a nice little debuff for on characters. Okay, I think I'll leave that at there. Now let's put the last into weapons. Crossbows, I need it at high. Oh, it's not that good. Okay, I'm gonna have to reduce some here. Agility. Okay, I'll drop down agility and dexterity. I'd rather put them more into and making her a very good crossbow fighter, as well as a sword fighter, I think. Okay, when she's fighting with a sword, she's going to be using a shield, so I think I'll leave that there. And a spear as a higher defense. So let's go to base. Damn, can't raise that. 33, 31, it's quite low. Let's make her that she's got good skill at body control. Just a couple of points into there. Be able to heal wounds that way. Now lastly, let's go put another point into you. And now I'm wondering, which one I should take, Bomb of Healing or put another point into that. It's easier to unlock it now, because later in the game it's going to get a lot harder to unlock spells. Okay, I'll take that one as well. Right, now I've got 5 points left, base value. I don't think there's anything worth 5 points, so that's that done. Right. Okay, let's go to equipment. Now we can equip her quickly. Now she's going to be using, we can go to weapons. We can take a light crossbow. Now when you equip in weapons, if I take a crossbow there or even a bow, I can set them up there. To give them ammunition, you need to put ammunition in the slot, and then you can choose how many. So, but I can also do it over here. So if I go to weapon set 2, which by the way, during combat, you can do a quick changeover, then you can just select the other one. It's that simple in combat, very handy. Now if in the combat you want different with arrow types, you could have, say, you could take your crossbow. It's not a second one, it's the same one, but now you can have, say, fire arrows or poison arrows, etc. It's worth bearing in mind. Now her second weapon will be a spear, and finally her third weapon is going to be a broadsword, and then I will give her a shield. Let's go to armor, find those shields. Probably under weapons. Weapons. No, okay. Her only shield available is a leather shield. So when she fights there, she'll have a shield for defense, then with a sword, and then that'll be a big defensive parry weapon. Remember, points? Very, very handy. Now let's go over the damage of weapons quickly. Here on the left, this is where you apply your items, as you've been seeing. Don't take notice of the icons. Yeah, this is a strange bug in this game for me, so just ignore it. In the middle window, you've got your different weapon tabs and different inventory items. So weapons, armors, and items which are miscellaneous things. Throwing axes, for instance, very fun. Down the bottom, you can then just hop over and backwards and forwards. On the right side, this is the explanation of each weapon. Now whatever you click on last, if it's selected, that's the one that's going to be chosen. Now if I hover over that one, it'll change, but it'll go back to the one that's selected. So let's just see. So take the throwing daggers, for example. Talent required to use it, damage that it does, plus additional damage. So it can do 3 to 8, and then 1 die 6 plus 2. Kind of fun. Range, 6 tiles, and weight. Weight and encumbrance is very important in this game. You do not want to go over your weight limits. So if you start finding that you're moving slower, you're taking more damage, check your encumbrance. If it's red, get rid of some things quick. So then again, your ranged bonus information, brief description, and then where you need to stock it. So it needs to go on a belt first. So let's go find a belt quickly, which is under armor. And we'll just take a small belt, which I just went past. Stick that there. So now I can take something like throwing daggers, and there. Now she's got 2 throwing daggers. These are not unlimited items, they are 2 individual items. Just bear that in mind. Let's go, I'll put on a healing potion rather, and she can take a javelin. Javelin's always fun. Let's go to armor. I like the brigandine armor, but it's metallic. And this is what happens when you get put on metallic on a spell user. It affects and hinders and makes it difficult to cast spells. So metal armor on a magic user, bad. Okay. Now something else I want to show you, and that is, now I need some leather armor. Bingo. Now if you look here on the right hand side, where it's got the description of the attributes that it affects, it increases your resistance by an X amount of percentage points. It's got an armor rating and encumbrance, and it's got an armor set. If you complete this armor set, these 2 numbers will change and you get a bonus. Very handy. Try and complete sets on people. You got sets for Gambison, for leather armor, Brigandine has a set as well, etc. If you complete a set, you get a bonus. So it's a good thing to bear in mind while you're busy kitting out a character. But I think in this character I'm gonna make her look funky. So she's gonna have Gambison gloves. Let's go find some hard leather shoes. I think I like hard leather shoes. And let's see, robes. Here we go. I'll give her a metal helmet just to see. Looks silly, but nah, that looks ugly. It's stupid. There we go. Feather hat. Now we're talking. So right, once you're done, once your character's kitted out, choose which one you want. I think I'm gonna set up straight away. There we go. Proper Van Helsing Brunhilde. Right, now we're good to go. Let's continue. As you can see, use a warning. Once you go past here, any points unspent, anything not applied, bye bye. Now bear in mind, this game is dark. The humor is adult based. It is not that it's sexist or rude or anything like that. It's just you need an adult to appreciate it. Watch and you'll see what I mean.
Or our friends. Sooner or later, all of them deceive us. Trust no one, they say. Especially not yourself.
welcome to Blackguards. That type of scene will happen again and again in this game. It's dark, it's not morbid, but yeah. Let's go express. Right. Now, throughout the game, while you're starting, you'll be displayed the tutorial. It'll introduce new concepts to you. If you're new to this game, first time you're playing it, have a look. They're quite handy tips. As you can see, this game uses the standard WASD keys to move about, and then the mouse wheel to scroll to change your camera angle. Next, when you're moving about, it is a left mouse click, whereas a right mouse click brings up your action menu. I want to show you something. I'm going to scroll out. That's all the camera moves. It is just literally a 90-degree axis move. It doesn't rotate. You can move up and down, but you can't actually rotate at all. Now, as you can see, my character can move anywhere in this map, but one set of movements is slightly darker while the other is slightly lighter. Now this, you got a two-stage movement system. One movement point to this area and a second further. The first area, anywhere inside there, I can move and then do an action. The second area, I can increase my movement distance and I forfeit an action. So bear that in mind. What's also nice is if you only left click, you can set a path for your character. Okay, just take escape so you get back. If you double click somewhere, your character moves. Now, my character doesn't have a high skill in lore, so she doesn't actually know how much she hits for this person on the wolf. If I were to increase my lore on animal lore, I will see what percentage chance I have of hitting the wolf. As you can see here in the bottom left, this is your indication on the sequence of your turn. This is based on initiative. Higher initiative, the sooner you start. So we're going against the wolf, and it's level 2. Now if I right click on the wolf, these are your option menus. This is all the different actions that you can do for your character. First, in the top, at the 12 o'clock position, this is your attack. A simple attack with your crossbow, or a targeted attack. Then you've got your magic offensive, magic for buff, magic for healing. Then you've got your magic to strengthen, magic to weaken characters, wait to pause your turn. That puts you at the end of initiative queue. To end your turn, to change your weapons. This costs an action point, so if you do this, your action's over. Your ability to use something from your belt, and your perception. And then finally, your use. Now I'll just explain something quickly. Sometimes in a game, in a combat session, it's going to be beneficial to wait your turn, to actually go to the end of the queue, to react as opposed to acting first. Especially in the bigger combat maps. Because you're going to find then that the enemy will come closer to you and then you can get the first strike in, as opposed to you move closer and they get the first strike. The other two that are handy are use. You can interact with items on the battlefield by pressing the V key. Now at the moment there's nothing here, so there's nothing to use. This can change the course of the battle. Very handy. Finally, perception to spot traps. Now I know there are none here, so I'll ignore that. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to throw the javelin. And it causes 6 points of damage. Now wolves move closer. Now I can fire with my crossbow, but I take a penalty to accuracy. So I need to actually move away from the wolf to fire the crossbow. Before I continue, there was a bit of information popped here. That's called your battle log. If you click on that, it will show you in detail what happens. So I'll normally leave it off. Now also up here we've got our menu, straightforward. You've got your quest log, tells you what's going on, and then later on this map will populate with places. Your inventory, and again your tutorial pops up. I'll just browse through it quickly. You cannot equip items during combat, so only go into inventory to actually see if you've got anything later on, but you can't equip things. Your character sheets, let's just go through that quickly. And it will pop up tutorials on each tab as you go over them. Very handy, read through them, they've got good information. Bear in mind though that the images on them are based on the beta and not on the final version, so they have changed slightly. And lastly, your hotkey bar, which takes away the bar at the top. Your hotkey bar, if I right click, I can click on any of these actions and put it up here, and then I can press that relevant key to cast the spell. So let's say let's do a second level 1. I'll put it up there, and I'll put it on the wolf. I can press 2, gives me a percentage, and cast the spell. And the wolf gets fried. Now we're going to cut to next cutscene, and then the game goes on. Okay, I'm going to actually call it a day at that point in this game.
What's happening to me?
Or no, I tell you what, I'm going to go on. Let's just let the cutscene run past, because then we can introduce you to another concept in this game, which is NPCs. And I can show you exactly what I mean with interacting with environments. Very good tip here, F5 to save often. Some nice cutscenes in this game.
The name. Tell us the name.
Lysander! What?
To the hell's with you, witch! You slew Eleanor.
No!
She must tell us the name.
What are you talking about? What name?
Tell us what you know, this instant!
What I know?
What is going on, I wonder?
My friend Muratori will make you talk.
Tell us the name. The name!
I don't know any
If you don't like
name.
torture, look away now. Right, time to get away.
I've always known what I want out of life. To sleep the days away under the sun. I just wanted to live. No more, no less. But the death of the princess changed everything. They think I murdered her. And they might be right. Maybe it doesn't even matter. You come into this world as a nobody, and they'll put a rope around my neck, and my neck will break. But by the Nameless One, what happened to me?
As you can see, like I said again, this game is a bit on the dark side.
Don't know why you're here, but I have a feeling you shouldn't stay.
How did you manage to free yourself?
You biggins don't know how to lock up an angress.
This is the first NPC that will join you in this game. Now let's browse through. What do we see? Right click for your menus, and then your initiative bar. Now Nora, who will be joining us for a large portion of the game, is now ready. Now this is exactly what I mean about waiting. If I was to charge forward, that guard's got an option to attack me. But if I wait for the guard, so I'll tell Nora to wait, and I'll tell Brynhilda to wait as well, the guard just moves closer. And what do you know? I can now attack. Now before I continue, I want to look at the character sheet of Nora. You can see here, I can use these points up here, arrows up here to change. And now we can see what talents and skills he has. He's got a good body control, so he's hard to knock down. He's good on warcraft. He's got good high perception, and he's got a bit of other side skills. He's got 0 spells, he's not a mage. And lastly, he's got special abilities. Now he's got a nice one. He's got one called Power Blow. It means it's an extra hard melee attack. He's got Vigilance, which is a very nice skill. Take a good read at that. It means that when he runs past an enemy, enemies suffer a penalty on attacks of opportunity, which is good for him because it means that he makes his attacks that much more a high percentage to hit. I'll show what I mean in a moment. Armor use, he doesn't get encumbered easily, and he's good at using a shield. In other words, he's a melee fighter. Now in the rest of this game, I'm going to make him a tank. Now as you can see here, he's got a 95% shot. Okay, it's actually quite high, no matter what I say. But if I was to run past him, so either one of these 3 squares behind him, there, he will have a slightly higher chance to hit. Now before I make Nadia move, I'm going to use V. Now look at the table. Let's have a
What
ghost
is
red.
that?
Okay. If you press the letter V for Vega, it'll highlight anything on the battlefield which you can interact with. So I could flip that table over and make it a barrier, which means their characters have to run around me. But instead, I'm just going to fight this guard quickly, and I'm going to burn him alive. And he's taken a wound, and his warpath failed, so he's lost a turn. Now Norum has got power blow, and he smashes into the guard. 8 damage. He's got 1 point left. I think for the last one, nah, it's too much to use for a spell. Just go her and she can attack. And the guard falls down.
Grateful that he doesn't have too much to hear the keys. So, what?
You mean Lysander?
I call him.
Okay,
What's
let's
your
just
name?
browse through
I
the
am
text
Norim.
quickly.
Just?
Just.
Oh, secretive, isn't he?
So why are you...
I was trying to protect your country from the dragon.
What dragon?
The dragon. Because we've become...
Yeah, he's unique.
Let me tell you a secret.
Friend! But I would be eternally
Anna, who's
grateful if you
this?
could...
Now, throughout the game, after each combat, you're going to be presented with a loot screen. How much APs you've earned, your experience, how much gold you've found around, and drops. Drops are, to a large part, random. So they will change based on combat. Now, you can lose combat
open the law. I mean,
without
as
losing the
it was.
game. You just get given the option to do the combat over again. It's very
Why are you
handy.
locked
So
up
if you want to
then?
try
If
different
only
tactics
I'm
in different
obvious.
combats,
The name's
you can.
Zerberan.
Al-Anfans.
Yeah.
What bring...
Though,
It's always a lot of text, a lot of
Why are
dialogue.
you wearing...
you're right.
That's pretty good dialogue, actually. Let's just
I'll
unlock.
open the...
Wonderful.
Right. Okay. Very important tip, save often by pressing F5 and a quick load or F9. Now, when you do dungeons, you will often be presented with a map. It's quite linear. You can choose where you want to go. I can go to the door, but the door's locked, so I will have to go to the guard room anyway. But before I do, I got some loot. So I go to the inventory, see what I pick up. So I've got a short sword. Now she's good with swords, so she can take that, and he can get the club. Norum can use double weapons, so he can get both. Now as you can see, it's a torch, so it's a fire weapon, but it's still handy to have around. Okay, and I think that was all. Any armor? Oh, leather pants. Yeah, he's wearing cloth pants. The leather pants is a different upgrade, and the belt can go to him. Okay, let's go to the guard room.
You don't talk much.
My friend said seems like those times.
Let's see if we can find the key for this.
Hold it right there!
Oh, we got a guard.
The
that's joined us.
chandelier. Cut the...
Now this is a prime example of an environment. If I press Vega,
That could be
the
useful.
V key, you can see I've got 2 tables I can overthrow, and I've got a chandelier. So see if I can get to a high enough angle. What do you know? It's directly over the guards. I wonder what's going to happen. Okay. Can he cast a spell? No, he's still got the collar on, so he will have to wait a bit. So I'll just have him wait, and Norm can do the honors. That's gotta hurt. Right, now I want to show you something. It's called line of sight and range. She's got line of sight in all these squares, but that's her absolute range. So if I only hit him, I'm going to have to move slightly further. It's a nice barrier, so I can keep that there. And let's go for a fireball. Bam. That's a lot of damage. And now he can move. Now what's the point? Now it's very handy to surround someone now and again, because they take a slight penalty. Again, they're being surrounded. And you can just take a smack at him. Now if you double click on any character, a simple attack is performed. But if I right click, then I've got the menu. And you can just do a simple spell. Bang. Da. and he's out for the count. I quickly put loot, and ooh, lots of toys. Let's take it all.
The key to the door.
Here I...
Okay, that was quite nice. Now as you can see, they've earned a bit of experience. Let's go spend it. This game doesn't have the normal, what I would call leveling up. Instead, it's got experience points which you can freely level up. So you got free character generation. You can take your character in any path you want to do. So I'm going to put those 2 points into bows because I want him to be a bit of a bow fighter. And let's see if I can take his spells. No, nothing there. Talents, nothing. And nothing else. Okay, he's done. Let's go to another character. And he's going to be my wall, so I'm going to give him a bit more vitality. And that's that done. And finally, let's go to Brunhilde. She's quite low, so let's just up that a bit. And give a bit more. No, not resistance. I want vitality and extra energy. There we go. Okay, and let's go just to equip some armor. Gambesons. Character 2. Armor's always good. You're going to find that Gambeson armor will be with you for a long time. It's actually pretty decent. So I've given him some skill points as in a bow, so he can take that, and Brunhilde can take the shield. Yeah, she's going to go into melee now, so that's probably a good bit. Okay, that's good. Let's go fight.
More guards. So much.
Wait, at least for a...
Okay. Now, Zobrum here has a fantastic spell under protection. It's called Arcane Wall. And if he's in range and in line of sight, he can put up a barrier.
The cells. Open the cell doors.
Okay. Let's go open the door. As you can see, there are levers on the walls here. If you press the V key, they highlight in red. So I'm going to stick her there and open that door. And by releasing the prisoner comes into play as an additional character. Norm can go and he can open up that one. Now open up all the doors is handy for you because this pathway here will just spawn guards over time. So you will not be able to actually fight all the guards, unfortunately. Okay, I'll show you a shortcut key. If you press spacebar, it automatically makes you wait your turn and gives you a bonus to initiative. Okay, let's go V.
That could be useful.
Yeah, why can't I click that? Put it there. Pull the lever. And Norm as well. Okay, I'll just wait for that to make a move. Yeah, they want to get out, but they can't. And I'll call his turn and over. And last bar guard, and then this round's over.
Let's get out of here.
Nicely done, quickly done, and you get some free experience. And now you're free to explore the wonderful world of the Dark Eye. Thank you for joining me for my first, the last.
Lysander.
Amongst
my
my
first
people,
Let's
friends
Play.
drink together.
I
instead
do
of
appreciate
torturing
you
one
keeping
another.
me company.
Each to his own.
And
Why did they
just have a
lock
look
you
at this
up?
game. This game is currently available on Steam in a demo. You can play through the first chapter. There are 4 chapters in this game. And if you like it, well, yeah, it only costs a few euros. At the last, when I purchased it, it was 35 euros. And I will say it is a fantastic game to play. So I'll end this here and I'll say thank you and good night.